So yeah, guys, I got engaged, as you know.
Woo! So exciting.
Woo! It is exciting. Yeah.
You sound like you're
Let's see.
dying.
Yeah, I'm dying. Yeah, it's just because of the aftermath of the sickness, and it's actually kind of funny because it's not funny, but it's kind of funny. Tony's sick actually again, so
Oh my god.
yeah, so he's dying downstairs. I honestly don't even know if we're gonna be able to make it to our Thanksgiving dinners. The big problem is that there's just a lot of elderly folk and children at both. So it's just like, you know, and we've both tested negative for COVID, so it's not that. But still, it's like I think the issue is that one of us will get better and then the other one will like pick it up from the other person and it just kind of goes back and forth. So
Oh.
now this time around we're really trying to like quarantine from each other now. So let's see if that will help. But yeah, as much as possible, not just just not being in the same room as each other. Um but he has it worse now because mine's pretty much the tail end and I'm just kind of like the lingering cough and I just sound like maybe a teenager going through puberty that their voice is changing or something, but so so yeah. Um, but yeah, so engagement, 2 years from now, we were originally thinking about trying to look for some dates, next year. We knew we wanted a fall wedding, but, pretty much all fall dates for next year were already taken,
Mhm.
um, and even when we were checking out the venue that we settled on when we were looking at the month because we were like, okay, either early or late September or early October. And pretty much all those dates are taken. So we settled for like later October in 2026. So that's because a lot of those dates in 2026 were also going really fast too. Like a lot of them were
Yeah.
taken, or people were looking at it and putting deposits down on it. And we were like, well, we got to move. So
Yeah.
we're taking this date.
That's
Nice.
crazy.
Yeah. Like, I've always known that when weddings happen and when people are planning weddings, it's typically, like, a year to year or sometimes even more in advance, but, it's kind of like I don't know, you're just like, don't think about it until you plan one, and then when you're in that planning stage at the venue and they're just like, "Yeah, these dates are, like, going quick," and it's, like, 2, 3 years down the road, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, shit, I didn't realize." But it makes sense, like, for for all of that to come together, I mean, there's a lot of planning that goes into it, so it just takes a lot of time. But honestly, I'm kind of thankful that we're not trying to do a 2025 wedding because um I don't think that we would be able to make it how we want it to be. Like it would be
Yeah.
too quick. Um I like there are things that we want to do that I think we certainly can do in 2 years' time rather than 1 year, like, both for financial reasons and both for, like, planning purposes. So, there's that. And also we've had some people in our bridal party that already have plans vacation-wise, trips, family visiting plans for next year already. So, it's like, might as well just push it another year. Um, so, yeah. I haven't told my we were planning to tell my our families tomorrow at Thanksgiving, like the date and stuff like that. Um, but like as far as things go, like we have to like Google time frames. Like we're just like, what's an acceptable amount of time to send out save the dates? Like when do we send out the invitations? Because we don't know about any of that. Like we're always only pretty much on the receiving end. So if we have no fucking
Yep.
idea. So like when it happened, we were like, okay, so we want a wedding, but like what now? Like what's the next steps? I was like there was a day where I was just kinda, like, looking up checklists and stuff. I'm like, "What are standard things that people, like, have to think about?" Like, yeah, I'm like, "Oh, who you wanna invite, where you want it to be, whatever, whatever," but, like, there are some things that I was just like, "What are" because there's gotta be something I'm missing, like, it's a big thing in the long run, so I wanna, like, cover my bases, but that's another thing too why I want it to be 2 years away instead of 1 year away is because I like this kind of more relaxed planning.
Mhm.
Um, I I think that if it was just next year, I would be kind of freaking out and thinking like, "Oh my gosh, I have to do everything now." Because, as you become an adult, like, time just kind of flies, and,
Yeah.
when you were a kid, you're just like, "Oh," you always hear adults just say, "Oh, time flies," or every, like, 3 months can go, like, just like that, and it really does, like, 90
Mhm.
days can when you're 90 days out from a wedding, and that's what, like, our venue coordinator was telling us, is she was just like, "Yeah, you guys have a good time frame." Because she said she's seen people, end up booking dates at their venue, like, maybe 6 months out because, like, one became available and they wanted it, and then they, like, underestimated that that amount of time really is not much time at all.
Yeah.
Um, and so, yeah, it's just kind of like all of that is I'm thankful for, like, us being able to just be like, "Oh, yeah, we should do this," and then we'll have, like, a loose deadline on when we should get it done, and it's not like it doesn't seem super, like, uh, um, I don't know, like, we have to get it done, like, tomorrow or something like that, so, yeah,
Yeah, you can do like one thing a month for the next year, and then you'll still be ready, 8 months ahead of time.
exactly. Yeah, I mean, even our guest list, like, for she was telling us, like, our guest list, she would probably want it, um, like, I mean 6 months at most out, but we were just like, "Yeah, I mean, we're probably gonna have that down soon," which didn't
Yeah.
seem like, so much more time ahead of time, but yeah.
You guys kind of put the heat on me and Ben because I mean, so I don't think we've talked about it on here, but Ben and I have been engaged since July. Uh
Mhm.
and we thought about trying to plan it for next year, and I was like, I no, like I'm not trying to plan a wedding in a single year. It's going to be a
Mhm.
mess. Like even if it goes off great, I just don't want to be stressed. Like the same thing is I
Yeah,
prefer that like casual, take care of things as I need to, but not ever feel like I'm pressed for time.
yeah.
Um but maybe we've been too casual because we haven't booked a location yet. We haven't even toured things. And so you guys got engaged and I was like, "Oh, nice. Like, yeah, we should get back into planning." And then you sent out the bridal party request. I was like, "Oh, they're so much more on top of their shit than we are." So now people are like, "Oh, so are you guys going to go tour places anytime?" It's like, "Oh, someday. Someday we'll go."
Yeah. Oh, that's and also too, it's like, just be selective. I mean, it also helps too because I was kinda looking at places, like, in the past, just kinda Tony and I were just kinda talking about it, so I mean, our first location, it was like I kinda had it set in mind. It was like a place in New Jersey, and
Mm.
they're the reason why we couldn't go over there is because their guest minimums were way high for what we were thinking,
Oh.
like yeah, their guest minimums were, like, 150 to 175 depending on the day, and
Oh,
we were like,
that's a
"We're not
lot.
gonna have that many people," like
That's crazy.
yeah.
I've never heard of a guest minimum. I didn't know that was even a thing.
Neither did I, but that was one of the things when I was Googling, like, "Oh, what are some things that you should have in mind when you're looking at a venue?" And they were like, "Check with for the guest minimums because some places, depending on their pricing or their location or whatever, wanna have, like, a guest minimum so they could, make money depending on whatever." And, I was like, I had no idea. So when I reached out to them initially, I was like, "Before I get started or before, you waste any time, what's your guest minimum if you have one?" And they were like, "Well, if you're looking on Thursdays or Sundays, it's this, and if you're looking at Saturdays, which is what we wanted, they were like, it's 150 to 175, and it's like it depends depending on like the time of year too." And we're like, "Okay, sorry." Like
That's
the good
so
thing I
much.
asked, yeah, because I was like, we're not gonna have 150 to 175. Like, there's no way. Um, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people that we could invite to make it to that, but we're gonna be like really stretching it, like trying to be like inviting
Yeah.
people we probably haven't talked to in so long or people we don't even want to invite. So
They're not gonna know anybody, so somebody there has to be responsible to be their buddy.
hmm yeah. So the place we ended up settling on was well, I don't want to say settle. We really like it, but the place we ended up choosing was they were talking about um even if we don't they do have, like they don't have guest minimums, they have, like, food and beverage minimums,
Mm,
depending
yeah.
on the day, and so, we were, like, thinking that we were probably gonna have, like, 70 to 80 at most? I don't know, and there were there and we wanted a Saturday, so it's like higher on Saturdays, and they were talking about how like we could definitely like enhance what we have there for food and beverage. So longer bar time, enhance the
Hmm.
meals, add like late night meals and snacks too, like after the dinner and whatever, after people are partying and whatever. Um do all types of other stuff that they have, like, they have different packages, it's all pretty much customizable. So, we're gonna do all that, but yeah, like, we have it all set up. Really, like, what we have set is literally just a place and the date, and we have our bridal parties notified, but that's pretty much it right now, but, I mean, I think we're in a good spot for it to, like, chill for a bit and just kind of I don't know, just
Yeah.
figure out the guest list and go from there, and then we'll add our all of our specific things in there. But yeah, I mean, it's a fun time. It's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, are you excited to like? I feel like wedding dresses is the first thing I would start looking at because I just love clothes. Are you like excited or stressed to like figure out what to wear?
Not really. I think that I'm gonna have like I attended a wedding a while ago where my friend got married and she ended up having two dresses, one for the ceremony and then one for the reception because the ceremony dress she felt like she would ruin if she went and danced in it and
Yeah.
whatever. So, and she's not a very I think she's a very frugal person. And so, neither of her dresses I don't think cost very much. So I think I'll probably do something similar to that too. And like I really don't see myself picking something very extravagant. It's just I don't know, I'd rather just focus on the event itself rather than all the other stuff, but I don't know, we'll see, but yeah, I kinda started looking at wedding dresses, but I haven't really seen anything I liked yet. The one thing that I noticed that I kinda had to table was, like, the wedding color schemes. I That's
Yeah.
actually my first roadblock because Tony and I were, like, looking at colors, and we have not been able to settle on yeah, it's like we're
Hmm.
we're just kinda discussing it, and then, like, it was one afternoon after work, I was looking and we were discussing it, and he just by the end of it, he was like, "Whatever you want," and I was like, "You just wanna just stop talking about this right now." He's like, "No, I'm just saying, it seems like you're gonna be very particular about it, so whatever you want, it'll be fine." So I was like, "You know what? Let's just come back to that. That's probably not that important right now." But that was, like, the one thing I was, like, feeling myself getting stressed about. I was like, "Why am I so stressed out about colors right now?"
That's hard. I was just so I'm on fall break, or I'm on holiday break right now,
Mm,
and I have not wanted to do any of like my homework or anything that's due when I go back to school. So instead of been procrastinating, but I was trying to at least be productive in my procrastination. So I've been painting. Finally, the like last couple rooms that we haven't touched in a year. Um, I primed both, and then I was painting the front entryway. And Ben and I have vastly different tastes in colors. Like we
yeah,
cannot agree on things. He wants like bright saturated colors, and I want kind of more of the like the muted, like subdued, like a sage green or like those kinds of things. Like I don't want it to be too bright, but also still
mhm.
want some color. And so every single time where he's been like, "Well, what about this color?" I'm like, I don't like it." But then I show him one and he's like, "I don't like that." So finally, literally, I think it was yesterday, I painted it the sample I'd gotten, and I also didn't like it. But he was like, "Well, sit on it, like wait till tomorrow, see how it looks." I woke up and first thing this morning, I looked at it, I was like, "I still hate it. I don't want this color." And I texted him and I go, "Are you okay with the color green?" And I didn't give him any more detail than that. He's like, "Just get whatever makes you happy." So I painted it a new shade of green, and it looks really good. I'm super happy about it. Um, and he was pleasantly surprised that he liked it when he came in this morning or came home from work this afternoon. But it's been such a fight this whole time where he's like, "I love this color," and I'm like, "That's hideous. I hate that." So we decided for the last couple of rooms we're gonna do ranked voting. We're each gonna pick
Mm,
two swatches. We'll put them up, And then we both have to vote for two, and one of the votes cannot be for our own colors. So hopefully that way something will end up with two votes.
Hmm.
Maybe. Maybe not.
That's so strategic.
We're trying. It's been rough.
How about you, Riley? Do you and Tino have like similar color tastes? Do you think?
Well, that's a good question. I mean, we live in an apartment, so all our walls are white, and we've never even thought about painting them. I feel like our tastes are different, but we're both very lenient. Like, I think if we have a house, we're just gonna split stuff up and be like, you decorate that one, I'll decorate this one.
It's the way to go. I told Ben we should do that, and he's
Yeah.
like, no, 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 we can agree on stuff. And then we never agreed on anything.
That's funny because I feel like I would be Ben in this situation, and Tony would be like, yeah, so you decorate this half and I'll
Mm-hmm.
decorate this half, and I'll be like, but we could do it together.
Nope. You absolutely can't. You try one room, see if it works, and if it does, great, go with it. But there's a good chance it won't.
Oh man. I really had no idea too, because it's like, I thought that we had pretty similar tastes, but when we were going through those colors, man, I was like, why is this so hard? I was like, we gotta come back to this. I do not understand. I was like, I've known you for like more than half my life. I've been with
Mm-hmm.
you for 10 years. I cannot believe this is the thing that we that we find out now. That's like, what? We don't agree on this shit. It's just
It's so
colors.
silly. Every time, I just remember we painted one room together because it's a lot faster if like someone's rolling and then someone's doing like the edges
Yeah.
precisely. And we did one room together. And I remember just getting to the end of it and we're staring at it, like making sure everything's done. And Ben just very quietly goes, I don't think we work well together.
Oh my god.
And it felt like breaking up with someone. It was like, oh my God, okay, so we can never do this again, ever. Maybe you
That's
guys will be
funny.
better.
I don't know. It'll probably be the same.
Oh no, there's no hope for you guys. If you can't agree on I meant Riley and
Yeah.
Tino.
Oh yeah, maybe, yeah. There you go. Probably Riley and Tino.
That makes me
Yeah.
want to start looking at colors because I can't imagine even what my opinion or his would be.
Tony and I are just Hannah and Ben, but switched. I'm Ben and he's Hannah.
Yeah. Hey, if as long as things get painted in the end,
Yeah, that's true.
that's all that matters, sort of. I still hate the kitchen. I hate that color so much.
Wait, what color is it?
It's like a really bright green. We
Mm.
wanted our dining room to be like a bright sunny yellow, and that we agreed on. Like I would have probably picked a different shade, but like I'm fine with it. It looks fine. Uh, And so Ben picked out the yellow. I sent him to the paint store because I was doing something else. I don't remember what it was. And he picked out the yellow. And then on the back of them, like the paint chips, they've got like this coordinates well with this shade, and this shade. And so you can buy like if you need a white as a complement or whatever. And so he picked the green that complemented the yellow, but the yellow is super, super bright. And so the green is like it's like sticky note pad green. I can't even get it the camera
Whoa.
to focus. Like it's super bright. I hate it so much.
Yeah, that's really bold. That reminds me of my mom painted our kitchen cabinets like a bright deep blue one time. And
Ooh.
it stayed like that for a while and it was very, very crazy. I think my dad resigned like the beginning of the relationship. He was like, you decorate everything, I will just shut up. And that's how they did that.
So then maybe this is a common theme in couples. Then it's just something I've never thought of. Like, it's also something that Tony and I have discussed. So that's like,
Mhm.
I don't know. It must be a common thing. You just don't. Maybe most couples don't agree on colors. I don't know.
Hard to say. Yeah. Our tastes are just a little bit different. Like I don't have like a vision for what the result is going to be. Like I think that's where he and I are different in that way. Where he's like, this is kind of all the things that work well together and I'm going to put these pieces together. Whereas I'm like, these are vibes that I like. And then once I've got the color or like whatever the theme is or whatever, I'll build off of that. So like I'll go thrifting for furniture and I'll find something that's like, this will complement what I've got, but I don't have something in mind when I'm doing it. I'm just like picking things out as I go.
Hmm.
And I think he's kind of more of a, this is what I want it to look like in the end. And so like he's got everything sort of already planned out and he just doesn't really trust my process. So that we clash a lot when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah. I don't know. I think I have like elements of both. Like, I guess it depends on what it is too. Like, I feel like sometimes I have like I can already see what it is, like the end result, but then sometimes I'm just like, no, I just like things, and then that's all I know at the time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Did you end up watching Memories of Murder?
I started it. I've been just painting nonstop, so I haven't really had a lot of time to dedicate it to it. But I started it. I'm 20. It's like 25 minutes in. Um, Wild start. What a just immediately crazy.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty excited. I thought it was cool when I was reading about uh Bong Joon-ho's like thoughts while he was directing it. Also didn't realize it was his first movie. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think there are a couple others of his that I want to watch. Let me look them up. Mother is another one that I heard is kind of underrated, but that he also wrote and directed, I want to say. But people say, who have watched it are like it's a very good movie, but not many people know about it.
Yeah. No, I don't think I've ever heard of it.
It was the same
Um,
thing with Memories of Murder too. Like I'd never heard of it before, and then I don't even know how we found it. I want to say it like popped up on Netflix one day, and then we saw that he was the director, and then I was like, oh shit, well I love his movies, so let's give it a shot. And I was like really impressed with it. And I really liked it, and I was so shocked I've never even heard of it, and it came out in 2003.
yeah. Yeah, I mean it's already like it's funny because it has the pacing of an older movie, which sometimes like gets me spacing out a little bit. Like I don't always have the most patience for like setup and exposition, but it's also really cool to see them setting up like the tone of the investigation.
Mm-hmm.
Just like it's a mess. No one's doing a good job. This dude is like kind of a bad detective. Uh so I'm curious to see where it goes from here because it has the impression that it's meant to be that he's like I know that he doesn't solve it, but it's got the impression that he like gets really into it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm excited to see the transition as it goes.
Yeah.
And the main guy is the dad from Parasite. It took me a second to realize that when I was watching it.
Yeah, he's in a lot of Bong Joon-ho's movies. I guess they are like kind of similar to, oh, who's that one? Oh yeah, like Scorsese and Leo. Like they
Yeah.
work together a lot.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think it'll be pretty good. We've actually just started I've talked about it for years and then we talked about it on our recommendations episode. Then I finally started watching Gravity Falls.
Oh yeah, nice.
I forgot how much of the first season is kind of just like filler, but it's so good. I keep being like, do you have any like predictions? What do you think is gonna happen? And like, there's been very few hints. Like, not much has happened,
Yeah.
but I'm just so excited. We're getting really close to the end of the first season, and like, shit pops off, and I'm so excited.
Yeah. Gravity Falls. I feel like I've just seen clips of Gravity Falls and never actually seen much of like actual episodes. I
It's
should give
good.
it a shot.
Yeah, the first season, like I said, is it's a fair amount of filler. There's a lot of setup for the characters and kind of their different issues and struggles that they go through, but it's the payoff is worth it. Season 2 is super good, but you can't really like skip too much either.
Yeah. You been watching anything fun, Riley?
Not really. I just started rewatching Full Metal. I feel like I just love rewatching stuff I've already seen, and I love cozy stuff. Like I sometimes was watching Murder She Wrote. I just started crocheting because I don't know
Hmm.
why. I just wanted to do something, but it's such a fun like thing to do when you're just like I don't know, like especially in the wintertime when it's like cold and I just feel like an old lady like crocheting and like watching old murder mysteries.
Yeah. There's something nice about doing something with your hands when you're watching something seen, and it's like kind of like almost like a trustworthy thing. Like I know when some people say they go to like new restaurants or something, they'll see something on the menu that they probably ordered tons of other places before, and they just end up ordering that thing because it's like safe, you know.
Yeah.
I just kind of that's like what it reminds me of because I'll do the same thing. I'll take like I have like a coloring book sometimes that I just take out. I just color when I'll watch something like a show that I've seen a billion times or a movie I've seen a billion times. It's nice.
Hmm.
Yeah, I think that was supposed to be one of my. Did we do resolutions? Was that our first episode? I have not done
Oh
I have not done any
shit.
knitting since then.
Resolutions. Yeah, that was.
It's
Ooh,
crazy.
whoops.
What did I say? Cooking more? No, I haven't cooked very many new things. I was supposed to be like try new dishes or something. I don't think I've tried many new dishes.
Ooh, whoops.
Man, that's crazy. No, it's not crazy. It's common. Yeah,
Yeah.
So
it's common.
it's like what everyone does.
Couple of months, gyms are gonna be flooded again, right? Gym memberships are gonna
Hmm.
go. They're gonna have like the sales on it. They probably have sales now, maybe even for Black Friday.
Yeah.
I'm getting so many Black Friday ads and like emails and shit in the mail, and it's like, ooh, start your subscription now, or like if
Ugh.
it's something that I like just kind of order from, they'd be like, oh, but you could get this like on a subscription basis, and we have a Black Friday sale, and I'm like, stop, stop it, no.
Do you
I
guys
think
do like shopping or like the Black Friday or just like Christmas shopping around this time?
yeah. No. Well, I nodded and said yes, but normally no. I think I'm going out this year for Black Friday. Ben's family always goes. They go first thing. I mean, even though places don't really do like doorbusters or anything like that anymore, they still go pretty early. So I think I'm going with them, but there's a good chance I'm gonna bail like an hour in because I don't like shopping that much, and then I'll just go and pick Ben up when he's done.
Uh,
Nice.
I used to have a friend who was really big on Black Friday shopping, but that was like also maybe 2013-ish. So it was like
Mm.
I would say it was a lot bigger back then, and like now since after COVID especially, like online shopping is more popular than going out
Yeah.
anymore. Um and it's just more, I don't know, I think people find it more convenient. And especially with all that stuff that happened with Black Friday all those years ago where people were like dying and shit and getting
Yeah.
injured and like all that crazy shit, people fighting for like TVs are like, okay, you can have the TV. I'm not fighting. like
Yeah.
I'll, I'll find another sale. I'll find a different store. I'll find a different item. Like you can have it. I'm not fighting you for this.
I also never thought about it before, but like we live in the Northeast. People were like camping outside of stores the end of November. These days it's not that bad, but like back then it was like you had the potential for negative temperatures and like inches of snow and freezing snow. Like that's
I
crazy. As a
know.
kid, I never even thought about that. But now as an adult, it's like that's such a pain in the ass. Why would you want to do that?
I remember people camping outside of like Best Buys like days in
Yeah.
advance too, like the week of leading to Black Friday. And I was like, oh
Hmm.
my God.
Ugh.
Jeez. They'd set their tents up outside on the sidewalks, and then, like, you'd have other people go into the Best Buys during the week, and they're just like, "What's all that about?"
Yeah. Yeah. I've never I don't know. I guess like back in the day the sales used to be better though. Like, you know, TVs were super expensive and you could get them for like $100 and whatever, but nowadays even some of the sales aren't even particularly good. I feel like things like Nintendo, like things that I would be willing to maybe wait for are not really going to go on that much of a sale.
Yeah, that's true. I did work one actually no, that's a lie. I worked 2 Black Fridays in 2 different stores before, and I don't know, maybe it was just a shift that I had, because they were, like, not in the middle of the night. Because it was, like, when I did like, one of the shifts that I worked was one of those years when they started doing it, like, midnight, like,
Hmm.
Thanksgiving, after everyone's done eating and whatever. It was, like, midnight on Friday, literally 12 AM, the beginning of Friday. Um and but I never, like, started at the beginning of it. It was, like, my shifts were during the day on Friday. So it was never, like, terrible. It was pretty much by the time, the daybreak came, everything was wiped out. So
Yeah.
it was me just kind of cleaning up, like, kinda just, like, you know, putting clothes back on shelves and shit because people are, like, running through it from 12 AM to 7 or something.
Yeah.
Thankfully, I never had to do that, but, and then the other store I worked at on Black Friday was Spencer's. It was
Wow.
one of them was a department store, so it was, I used to work at a Bon-Ton, on a Black Friday, and then the other one was Spencer's. Spencer's really wasn't bad. It was just kind of because it's like, Spencer's sells a bunch of random shit and then, like, sex toys. But
Yeah.
and I don't even remember, like, the deals at Spencer's, but it wasn't really, big. But I remember when I worked at the Bon-Ton, it was like that was pretty bad. Like, when it came in during the day, there was, like, practically nothing on the shelves. It was, like, maybe
Wow.
a few shirts when it normally was, like, stocked.
Wow.
And so I was just for the most part, I was just kinda there. I don't think I even rang many people out during the day because people were, like, tired at that point, and they just, like, slept because they ate all day the day before, and they were up all night just, like, running around shopping and buying whatever.
Yeah. It's just a different beast now. Like, I say beast. It's not even that big of a deal anymore. Ben's
Mhm.
mom she hates crowds, like with a burning passion, which is why they still go so early. But now she's just kind of getting old and is doing that thing where it's like, oh, it was so busy. It was a madhouse there. And then you walk in and it's like, this is like the mall near us is like a pretty big mall. It gets busy on the weekends. It's like a slow weekday morning and there's like 12 people there in the whole place and she's just like it was crazy. It's like no one's fighting you for like any of these things. There's not that many people there. No one, I don't know. No one really does it anymore.
I think nowadays too, it's like Black Friday is almost extended to, like, they'll be
Yeah.
like every all the days leading up to it, they'll still have, like, pre-Black Friday sales, and
Hmm.
so it kinda, like, almost defeats the purpose of it just all being in one day. But and then there's also, like, online shopping, and then there's, like, Cyber Monday too,
Yeah.
so, yeah.
Yeah, I was buying some Christmas presents this week already on like online, and almost everything was like Black Friday deals. It's like, I guess, but it's Tuesday.
Yeah, I love online shopping. I don't know. I feel like I was never like an adult when there wasn't online shopping, so it's hard to say if I would have liked it in person too, but I don't like shopping in person that much. But I love online shopping.
It's weird. I kind of remember when it switched a little bit. Like I remember always feeling like it was really unsafe to buy things online. Like
Mm.
Like
getting something
eBay.
delivered to your not even eBay, just like general online shopping. Like back in the day, I feel like we were always just worried about scams and like things not getting sent properly. Like buying something online and having it delivered to your house was like a risky choice. Most people would go into the store because it's like, well, it won't get broken by the USPS or like you're not getting scammed, your data's not getting stolen, like that, I don't know. I just remember feeling like it was a riskier decision to make when it's like, well, there's a 20 minutes away. Why don't I just go there instead?
Yeah.
And then at some point, it just became super normal.
Yeah. Was it already becoming more of a common thing before COVID, or was it or because I'm trying to remember, like, pre-2020, like, what was online shopping like? Like, I know back then was like what you were just describing, but, like, now I'm trying to think, like, I don't know, like 2015 or something. Like, I
I
can't even remember.
I feel like it was just Amazon that did
Yeah.
it. Like that's when I noticed like at least my family buying a ton of shit online because they would have the 2-day shipping And then it
Yeah.
became not only like you trusted it, because I think at that time it was like people started just trusting it, but also just that it wasn't even, you didn't have to wait forever. Like going to the store, you could get it that day. But with
Yeah.
Amazon, it was like, well, it'll be here in 2 days. So it like all of a sudden it wasn't as bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like we were kind of already mostly at this point once COVID hit, but I think COVID kind of like doomed a lot of the actual physical locations. Because
Yeah.
before, like you could go to malls and there'd still be, an outlet store and I'm thinking because I just bought something from what is it, Williams Sonoma, the like kitchen, mostly kitchen and home goods,
Yeah.
and I haven't seen a physical store for them in years, but I do remember going to them a couple times pre-COVID.
Yeah. Because like I'm thinking now about like why I would have gone into a store before, like why I would have thought it was like better. I guess for like clothing, maybe I would be able to just like try it on, but I think also now it's like with online stores, whether it be Amazon or just like the whoever's selling it, like whatever, you know, I don't know, just whatever website you're on. Um, they have more like I guess they're more information based like towards like what a
Hmm.
consumer would like to see before they make the purchase, right? So like on Amazon there's all this stuff, and I find like now I'm thinking about it, like when I do make a purchase on Amazon, or whether it be like I don't know, it could be furniture, there's a lot like I think what I would have been more reluctant on is like, oh, I can see it in person in the store. I can like
Hmm.
see the size of it. I could like if it's like if it's like a wardrobe or something, I can open up the doors, look at the drawers, like see the
Yeah.
space in it and stuff. But then like online now, it's like they have all the measurements, they have the dimensions, they have people like reviews showing them placing that same wardrobe in their own rooms in their homes and stuff, so you have more information already at your fingertips. I think i think was probably already there in the past 10 years or 15 years or so, but like it's just gotten better because I
Hmm.
think there's been more like what are consumers looking for, because that's absolutely what I look for. Like I'll research the shit out of something, I'll look at reviews, I'll look at
Yep.
you know whatever from different sites just to see and do research before I make, especially on big purchases too.
Yeah.
So and now it's like now it's the opposite. I'm like more reluctant to go to a store because I'm just like, well, I mean, I could see all that information right here on my monitor. So like might as well just read all that and then make my decision, and I could just avoid a drive out. But I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like a big thing for me for a while was like if I was going somewhere, it's because I was going to ask someone for like what their recommendation was. I would be able to go like, I'm thinking Best Buy still. It's like I could go in and be like, this is the thing that I want to do. Like I want to get in photography, that this is my budget. Like, and I feel like back then it was more like the people there knew things a little bit more in depth. Like people were assigned to departments to help you with those specific things
Mhm.
and be able to tell you like, well, this is within your budget, but you could do this or this. And nowadays, I don't think people are quite as specialized. I think it's a lot more of like, well, these are our options. Do you want Android or Apple? Uh,
Yeah, that's a good
so like,
point too. I didn't think about
there-
that.
there's not a lot of point for me to talk to anybody in the store anymore. I feel like.
Hmm.
I guess that's mostly true for box stores though. I still go to like, like local bookstores and stuff like that. And talking to people there is always fun because they have tons of recommendations.
It's nice to see that kind of thing though. Like whereas I don't know, like it's there's more of a point to the actual physical space, holding the plate, holding the books, and having the people having actual recommendations and stuff like that. Whereas it's like, it would be silly to actually for like Amazon to have a physical store somewhere. That would be so weird. I
Yeah.
would they just have like a whole bunch of random bullshit in their like on their shelves, and I'm just like, you can get toilet paper, but you can also get like a couch. I don't know. Here's a TV we have for $3.99.
They just let you into one of the warehouses.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about the comic book stores too, kind of like bookstores. It's
Mm,
like you could
yeah.
probably get all that stuff online, maybe with way more selection, but they just have like I mean, they also do community stuff like running games but I,
Yeah.
I like at
Mhm.
our comic store whenever I go with Tino, I still haven't picked him up, but there's like a staff picks section where like each
Hmm.
person that runs it is like recommending a thing, and I'm always checking that out. I'm like, oh, what do they like?
It's just more fun too, like, just to, like or in like, bookstores and those kinds of stores, you can, like, take a peek at, like, the back of the books or, like, take a look at, like, the new comics that maybe they came in, graphic novels or whatever. Um, and then like, typically those stores too have, like, a lot of stuff, like, could be, like, I know, thinking of one in my area, they have, like, records and posters and board games and figurines and stuff, like, all types of stuff, so, it's, like, things that I think that are more fun to see, like, in person rather just be like, "Oh, look at this picture of it and all of its dimensions online."
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't know if that's the difference between like hobbies and things that you need. I guess
Yeah,
technology is,
probably.
it's stuff that
Yeah,
you want to cater to your taste a little bit more.
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I know I just thought of this, but, this is completely, like, branching off. It's not even a branch. It's completely just huge, other this is a completely different topic. I was doing some grocery shopping the other day, and, um, one of my high school teachers was just like I didn't even notice them at all. They just, like, tapped me on the shoulder, and they were like, "Is your name Melody?" And I at first,
Oh
I
my
when they
God.
said that to me, I was like, "Who is this old man?" I was like, "I don't know who this guy is." And I was like, "Yeah." And he was just like, "I'm Mr." I don't wanna say his last name, but, like, I'm let's call him
Dox
Mr. S
him.
let's call him Mr. Smith. He's like, "I'm Mr. Smith, you're from high school, your history teacher." I was like, "Holy shit. Mr. Smith, how's it going?" And, I guess I must look the same because I was just like like and he was like, "Remind me again when you graduated." And I was like, and I didn't even think about it. I was like, "When did I graduate?" I was like, 2011. And he was like, "Yeah, that's right. Okay." And he was just like, "How you been?" And I'm like, and
Damn.
yeah, and he was like, telling me he retired a few years ago, and I was just like, it was such a blast from the past, and I was like suddenly flooded with memories from his class. Not that it was like a super crazy class or anything like that. It was an IB history class, and I don't know, he was a good teacher. He was pretty standard, but like he was a nice guy. And like one of the things that came flooding back to me was him just like yelling at this one girl in class who was adamant she was not texting. But she was like one of those people who were like lying even though the evidence was right in front of their face, like your face. So she had her phone out and she was texting. And he like first started out with politely asking, "Hey, can you put your phone away? You could just class is almost over. I'm sure you could just look at your phone in a few more minutes after it's done." And I don't know. She was like real bitchy that day, but she was like, "I'm not texting." And all she did was put her phone in her lap, and that was it. And he was like, "Just put in your bag. Class is also almost over. Like you could just it's fine." And she was just fighting with him. Really like, I don't know, less than 15 minutes left in the class. And that was that was like the only thing that was running through my mind as he was talking to me. And I was like, why can't I remember anything else? But I was just like, yeah. And so yeah, he was like, "Yeah, you pretty much look the same." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's good to know." I still look like my high school self. And I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up because it just happened the other day. But has that ever happened to you guys? You saw like an old teacher or something outside in the wild?
In the wild. I have not, but I'm afraid if I stayed in my hometown for any extended period of time, I would, because it's not
Yeah.
big.
I'm always afraid of that when I come back to visit. I'm like, I'm gonna see people I know. Because my dad's also fairly well known around town. Like he runs his own business and that's pretty recognizable and I look like my family. So it's one of those like I'm like, I'm gonna see someone that I know and I'm always worried about who it's gonna be. We ran into Ben's. This one was embarrassing. We ran into Ben's. I think it's like his mom's cousin or something like that. They're related fairly closely, but kind of like only come to a couple family parties a year at most. And we ran into her in the grocery store like 2 days ago, and I was the one who recognized her, and I've only met her like 3 times ever. And we're like standing in the veggie area, and I was just like, Ben, is that who I think it is? And he's like looking at her. He's like, I think it is, but I'm not sure. And I was like, well, I'm not gonna go say hi to her if you, her actual relative, are not sure that that's her. But I don't think so. I used to go back and volunteer a bunch at like my elementary school when I was a little bit, when I was like 19, 20. So I feel like I kind of like kept in touch with some of my teachers. I don't think that's quite the same.
I would be shocked if any of them recognized me. Were you shocked that that guy recognized you?
Yeah, because I thought I looked at least a little bit different. Like he came to me, like he approached me. So like I I must look very similar to how I did back in 2011. So like I mean, he had me thinking. I was like looking at photos. It's like, oh, I look kind of. I don't know. No, I guess I kind of look similar, but like I was just like, I can't believe I look that much the same. But I don't know. Maybe I have a distinct face or something. I was pretty shocked though.
Because,
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a lot of time.
there's some kids in my own grade I don't remember. Like, so a teacher who
Mm-hmm.
like sees so many kids every year, like he definitely must have just, yeah, liked you or remembered you or something. Because I guarantee like 90% of my teachers would not recognize me.
Yeah,
Like,
that's the
who?
thing too, because like our graduating class, my graduating class was like around 300 something. So like he has a lot of students every year and it's been a long
Yeah.
time since then. So I was like, yeah, I was definitely surprised. But I don't know. I was a good two shoes back then. I was like, I had my shit in. So maybe it was like good student, like he remembers like good students or something like that. Nowadays, I feel like I'd be a shit student. I don't know.
It's also, I can't get over how much time. I don't want to drive the point home how long it's been, but the entire school system has cycled since you were in his class.
That's
That's
true.
the 13 years.
Yeah,
Like
that
that's
is
Wow.
crazy.
true.
What a memory.
Yeah. I mean, there are some teachers from no, but that's different too. It's kind of similar to what you're saying, like when you volunteered with at your like old elementary school. So like there are some teachers that I think, I mean, I don't really touch it anymore, but Facebook, there's some teachers that
Yeah.
I'm friends with on Facebook that I've had, but that's like, I that's like purposefully like I have there's nothing like that. He wasn't a bad teacher or anything like that. I liked his class. So, but yeah, I don't know. It's just I mean, it's expected. Haven't left my hometown, so I'm sure that I could probably have passed other people that have been my teachers or in some capacity worked at my school or something like that when I was going
Yeah.
through school. So like, and they just didn't recognize me and I didn't recognize them. Yeah, it's expected.
Yeah. I had a really embarrassing interaction like 5 years ago, I guess. My sister-in-law, my brother's wife, who he has two kids with, um, we went to my niece's first birthday, so they hadn't even both been born yet. So this was like, yeah, 6 or 7 years ago maybe. Which means I was even younger, like I was closer to school aged. And her cousins were there. I guess it would have been her aunt and uncle were there. And they come up to me and they're like, Hannah, it's so good to see you. And I was like, do I know you? You're my like your extended family of my sister-in-law. Like, why do I know you? And they're like, yeah, you were friends with our daughter, Katie. And I was like, I've got no, who's Katie? Like, what are you talking about? And they like were listing off details about me. Like they definitely knew who I was. It was not like a mixed identity sort of situation. And they're like, yeah, like you invited her to your birthday parties, like you guys did all these things together, and they're like listing all these things off, and I'm like, I got
Oh
nothing. I got no memory. And they literally showed me a picture, and she looks exactly the same as when I was a kid. Like, I just completely forgot who she was. Like, we never, once I left school, like, never spoke again, and she just totally left my memory. And I felt so bad because they were like, yeah, you guys were such good friends. And I was like, I've got no idea who she is. I'm so sorry. It turns out she's my sister-in-law's cousin.
Wow.
So I get to see her at family parties all the time now. I try to be cool about it and not uh, bring up that I didn't remember who she was. But yeah, I found old pictures of my like first and second grade birthday parties, and she's in all the pictures. She's always there. Oops.
I I feel like that just happens though. Like when you're a kid,
Yeah.
you just forget like those kind of people. Like I can't even remember who I hung out with as a
Yeah.
kid, but like the parents would remember, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, like I think you're a lot less picky as a 6-year-old. You're just friends with anybody who wants to do the same thing as you as recess. Like there's a
Yeah.
I think it's the same one of the same birthday parties. There's a kid named Chris uh, that was also at my birthday parties. I don't think I ever really spoke to him, to be honest. I'm not entirely sure why I invited him, but later on, like I was at not his wedding, but his best friend's wedding, who was an entirely separate person that I had met, and we like ran into each other. Didn't even know who I was. Like, just no, no. Being 6 is easy.
It's so easy.
Oh man, the days. I yearn for the 6-year-old days. It's so simple. Did we still have
Oh,
nap time when we were 6 years old? No, right? We were too
I
old by
think
that
I
point.
think it's just kindergarten,
Okay.
maybe.
Well, more simple back then.
Was kindergarten the one where you only went half the day still, or is that the one where you go the whole
I think
time?
that's preschool.
Preschool, okay. Yeah,
I guess
did
there's different kinds. Like I think my school district had a couple options. Like they had a preschool option and then they also had like a training option, which was like to get kids used to the idea of going away for part of the day.
mm.
I don't exactly know how those are different, but I just vaguely remember there being different enrollment choices.
Did you guys have like separation anxiety or know anyone your kid?
Probably. I don't remember.
I didn't. My little brother did, but not me. I was very social as a child.
I definitely wasn't social, so I probably was. I don't remember like freaking out, but I remember like playing by myself in the preschool, being like, "What the fuck is this?"
Aww.
What is this place?
So
I had a friend who like had a he had a well she yeah, he had a much younger brother than us. Probably like 8 years younger than us. But um did you guys have like summer fun? It was like a summer camp like thing that happened at schools. They called it summer fun.
no.
No?
Not that I went
Okay.
to.
So we had something that was called like summer fun or something like that, and it was pretty much just like summer camp, but it was just hosted at like the local schools in the area. And I was like I was like one of the like counselors, and I was like um I would like watch over like the 6 and 7 year olds, um and just like we would just play games with them, and it was just kind of like a daycare during the summertime,
Yeah.
I guess. And my friend's little brother ended up going because like his parents' work schedules were not like aligning. So like they had to both be out during the day because they kind of had it where one of them was home during the day, but he had terrible separation anxiety. And so and he was like was getting ready to go to like preschool and the following fall, and but they were like really hesitant. They wanted to find out some way to get him used to it, and I guess they didn't have that training option in that area. So what they had were like, okay, there's this summer fun program, you could get him enrolled in that, and that could kind of maybe try to get him more used to being away from you guys. So they tried that. And the thing was, his brother was like he was attached to his brother all the time when his parents weren't around, right? But then, like, when his brother wasn't around at this summer fun camp thing, but he saw me and he recognized me, I became the new person that he latched onto. But his group was not my group. I was like 6 and 7 year olds, and he was a little bit younger.
Mhm.
And so, like, he would like freak out if he had to leave, like if I had to leave and go with my group. and I wasn't there because I was like basically the
Aw.
extension of his brother, who was an extension of his parents. So like he screamed and cried and kicked, but like his parents couldn't really do much about it. Like there were a couple days where they tried to stay there, but then like they couldn't get it arranged with work where they could like stay with him for a while, for like a week or so. So like they just had to like straight up leave him. Like there were like days where I saw him and he would like attach himself to their legs, and they'd be like, okay, hey, look at this like game, let's play this game. And he would turn around, play the game for a little bit, and his parents would be gone. He'd be like so
Oh,
scared. And I was like, there's got to be a better way, but I guess there I was just I just felt so bad for the kid.
it's so much worse too because they're upset about it. It makes the experience so much harder for them as well. Like that's
Mhm.
awful. Most kids, yeah,
Yeah.
like you distract them and they're fine after like 5 minutes. But oh,
Yeah. It was like it looked traumatizing for him, and I'm sure he's he's a grown adult and he's fine now. I was like having separation anxiety as a kid. I don't remember ever having that myself, but like, God, it's got to be so scary if you have that and you're a child and you go to school and you're just like, where are my parents?
yeah. No, I was a farm kid. They just kind of let us run around and do whatever. So they didn't. I don't know. I didn't feel too much different being at school. If anything, I was more surrounded by people at school, so I was like often way more social and happy there. At
Mhm.
home, it was like my dad had to go out and work, and my mom was also working on the farm, and so it was kind of just like a, go run around in the woods for a while, kids, sort of situation. Yeah, I broke records in my library. I was
Yeah.
like best friends with my librarian. I loved that place. I would literally get like a couple books out every single day, and then I'd read them on the bus home, and then in the evening, and then I'd come home or come back to the library the next morning before classes start, and I'd like turn them in and get some more, like hundreds of books probably in a year. And granted, I was a child, so they're like 40-page books. It's not that impressive, but uh, I remember leaving elementary school and going on to middle school, and the librarian being like, "You can still come back. Like, if you ever want to take any books out, just let me know." It's like, I don't go here anymore. Like, how am I going to bring them back? Like, I think I'll just end up
Aw.
stealing books from the library. She's like, "Trust you." It's like,
Mhm.
I don't think that's the point, though. This isn't a public library. Like, I could go elsewhere. Like, there are places that I could go. My other school has a library. Uh,
She just missed
but
you.
she was
Yeah.
really sweet.
She didn't want you to go. She was just so excited every time he came in and got more books.
Yeah. She was
That
cool.
that must be a cool feeling for a librarian to see kids still like I mean back then I'm sure that there was still plenty of kids that were still into reading. I mean, like I'm sure there are kids today who are still pretty much into reading, but it's just I think it's harder. It's got to be harder now, right? With all the
Probably.
screens and shit.
I would think so. I feel like I've heard people talk about how like periods get structured differently. Like kids don't have as much time and ability to go to like the libraries and schools anymore.
Oh, really?
That's at least, I mean, I guess it's probably also a case by, like district by district basis.
Mm.
But a couple of like the people I know that work at schools and stuff have said that like it's harder for kids to go, like they can't go on their lunch breaks because they're not allowed to just like leave the cafeteria. Like I feel like when I was a kid, you can kind of just like wander off and go do whatever, as long as you weren't in a class.
Mm.
And I think those things have gotten more strict, so it's a little harder to like actually go to the library unless it's before or after all of school.
Mm.
Yeah. Hmm. I guess we'll see. We'll see what happens with like the next generation if they can read very well, I guess. I know they don't do cursive anymore in school, so like
Thank
I know
God.
yeah,
Never used that.
it's fucking bullshit. Even now, it's like it'd be like, yeah, I could write my name in cursive, like, yeah, but you don't fucking need it. Like, yeah, when I sign my name and a signature, it's a scribble all the time. Like,
Yeah, every
Yeah. My
what?
name is too long. I am not doing that whole thing.
Like there's like a remnant of an M in there.
time.
That's it. You're not even gonna
Yeah.
get it my last name. You're not gonna no.
Yeah.
It's M and then squiggle. Like that's my
Yeah.
whole name.
Yep. Yeah.
God. And they had us practice all those stupid sheets with like all the letters and shit.
Yeah.
Man, they should have stopped it earlier. It's such a waste of time.
Yeah. We have problems with it. Our neighborhood is like kind of on the older side. It's a lot of people who moved in like around the same time frame. And a lot of them still, when they get and receive or send and receive letters, they're writing the addresses in cursive. And our road has an east and a west side. So it's East Blank Road and West Blank Road, but the numbers are the same. Like so there is a road on the other side that has the same house number as we do. And we get wrong mail constantly because everything's in cursive. And so you can't read who the letter is for. You can't, like, the only thing that is legible is number blank road. And then the only difference is east and west. We get like literally a wrong letter almost every single day. I've gotten to the point where I just like shove it back in the mailbox. I think the postman knows. Like, well, there was one that came in like 2 days ago that Ben even brought to me. He's like, "Where is this even supposed to go to?" And I was like, "It's the other side of the block." He's like, "No, that's not what it says." I was like, "Yeah, it's just really messy cursive, just illegible to most people."
Yeah.
So much wrong mail constantly. We get like maybe like 2 or 3 things a week, but we get probably like 15 to 20 things a week. Most of it's not for us.
Uh,
I feel like once in a while we'll get something here that's mailed to someone that I guess might have lived here, but like we've lived here for like 6, 7 years,
Mhm.
close to 7 years now. So I'm just like, who, who's not updating their address? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, that's crazy. Because I remember when we first moved in, like I saw some of their mail, but then it like stopped. I think there was like most recently, maybe something a couple months ago, and I was like, why does this name look familiar? And I remembered that it was the person who lived here before us, and I recognized it because we got their mail initially when we first moved in, like 6 years ago, and I was like, what the fuck? Why are they still sending shit to them here?
Nobody changes their addresses. Yeah, the lady who sold the house, she didn't, I think she moved in with her daughters. I don't think she changed her address for like a while. We
Really?
were constantly getting her stuff. I just got like a stack of it that I eventually just like put in a box and mailed.
I was at the post office the other day and I was like waiting in the line, and this older lady comes just kind of slowly walking up, and she just like cuts everyone in line, and she goes up to the counter, and she like looks around for a bit, and she sees that all the people are busy, and then she just throws this. It's just one envelope. She just throws it on the counter and goes, "This is not my mail," and then walks out. And I was like, "Why did you bother even coming? You could have just like, I don't know, done anything else. You spent all that time. This is not my mail." Okay.
I'm gonna start doing that every time I get a wrong letter.
Uh,
It's like so many post office trips.
Yeah, you could throw it like in one of those blue boxes. Like there's so much you
yeah.
could do.
I mean, you could put it in your own mailbox, right? If,
Hmm.
especially if it's only a little bit. Like, I mean, I don't know. Is there a limit? I don't know because I've done that before.
Yeah.
And I remember back when I lived with my parents did that too. So they just put it right back in the mailbox. They wrote a note on it, like, does
Yep.
not live here or something. The mailman just took it back.
Yep. Yeah, it's either it's addressed correctly, but the person who they're addressing it to is no longer there, in which case it just gets returned to sender, or the mail person delivered it incorrectly and they just have to take it somewhere else.
I feel like too that's like an old person thing. Like I feel like more often than not, they're old who do that kind of shit. Like they'll cut the line or they'll do this, and it'll just be like because they're old and they're just like fucking tired and shit. They just like they got this whole mentality like I'm elderly, so I can just do whatever, and then someone will just address it at whatever point. But I'm here now, and I want my service now. That's
You're
happened to
gonna
me
make
so
it
many times.
everybody else's problem.
Exactly. Like, that's happened to me so many times in all the, like, different retail stores I've worked at. Like, I've had so many people cut the lines. I'd be like, "There's you gotta li you gotta you gotta get in line, I'm sorry." It's such a long ass line. I'm like, "I don't know what to tell you. There's other people here waiting. I don't age does not make you more important. I can't let you cut the line."
Yeah. Can't stand that long. Get a wheelchair. It'll just make you look older.
Wheel yourself in, take a number.
Get comfy.
There's been lines for so long, lady. Like, I'm sure you lines don't stop once you reach a certain age.
Nope. Old people.
Alrighty. Well, I hope everyone has a good Thanksgiving,
Mhm.
and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.